Please welcome Nirav Shah.
Good afternoon, everyone. Super excited to be here at Ignite. Get the opportunity and the pleasure to walk you all through one of Microsoft's latest AI innovations, Microsoft Agent 365. So I couldn't help but notice, as I was driving in from the airport to the hotel the other day, all of the billboards talking about AI and how that was changing work. And that is the reality of what we're seeing. AI is fundamentally changing how work is getting done, redefining roles in every process across every organization. And we're seeing it play out over and over again. The organizations that make that leap to really embrace what AI is capable of in the workplace are seeing results that outsize the organizations that stick with the status quo. That is what being a frontier firm is really all about. And so when we think about being a frontier firm and how that evolves and what that means to your organization, it still starts, like you heard this morning, with human ambition at its core. People using their intellect and creativity to deliver business results. But increasingly, those people are now supported by a Copilot as their personal assistant, removing the mundane and letting them use that intellect and capability so that they can deliver greater and greater results for your organization. And increasingly, people in Copilots are now being augmented by agents. These AI agents that understand the business process and can execute them on behalf of your users with Copilot, unleashing new levels of results and productivity for your organizations. And you've seen this slide and this number, and you're going to see it a bunch more, I'm sorry to tell you, through the rest of this week. But there's going to be a ton of agents running out there, over 1 billion of them in a really short period. To put that into perspective, that's really roughly an agent for every 5 people on the planet. Right? Just think about that staggering number that you're going to have to deal with. And in fact, thousands of these agents are already out there running across frontier firms today. And that number just keeps growing. The scale really shows how agents are becoming foundational and core to how work is going to get done. But I'm sure all of you are sitting there going, gosh, that's great, but I've got lots of concerns about this. If I'm going to have to operate all those agents across my organization, how am I going to deal with all the risks that brings in? What are those how am I going to deal with those concerns, right? You need to know, what are all these agents that are running across your organization? You need to know, can I actually operate all of the agents regardless of the platform or infrastructure that they're running on? How do I know that these agents are going to work within my organization's guardrails to keep me safe, compliant, and secure every time they run? Who's going to be responsible for these agents? Who's going to manage their life cycle, make sure that they're working every single time someone needs it to go run? And ultimately, are these agents actually delivering the value and results that I need for my organization to be at the frontier? And that's why we've created Microsoft Agent 365, the control plane for all your AI agents. With Agent 365, you can deploy, manage, and secure all the agents in your organization, whether they come from Microsoft and our agent factories, or from the growing list of agent providers rapidly emerging across the industry, all using the tools and systems that you're already familiar with. So let's go ahead and see Agent 365 in action.
AI agents are becoming part of everyday work, helping teams move faster, automate tasks, and scale ideas. The big question is, how do you keep it all secure, compliant, and under control? The good news is, you don't need to start from scratch. Give agents the same tools as your users. Extend your existing infrastructure, apps, and protections to agents, leveraging familiar capabilities tailored to their needs. With Microsoft Agent 365, every agent is registered, visible, and governed, all in one place. The result? Strong security, enhanced confidence, and a simpler path to scalable AI.
That's why we are so excited about Agent 365 and the potential that it has for all of you. Agent 365 provides those foundational elements that you need to manage, secure, and run all your agents, starting with a single registry, so that you have visibility into every single agent in your enterprise. Enforcement of access control policies to data and systems, so that you can stay compliant and protected at every turn. Visibility into how your agent ecosystem is running, its usage, and its associated risks. A way for your agents to interop with the data, applications, and collaborations that are available across your organization, regardless of where that agent is running. And finally, the security capabilities that you need to proactively detect and respond to emerging threats. But these capabilities are things that you already have. You're already using them across your organization. That's why we built Agent 365 using the infrastructure that you're using to serve the over 430 million people working in Microsoft 365 today. So instead of building a whole new system, which would have required new onboarding and training and role definitions across your organization, we've evolved that existing infrastructure now to support agents as well. So the same infrastructure, applications, and protections that you are already using now just work for agents too. So through the rest of this session, we're going to dive deeper and take a journey through some of the roles that you already have across your organization and see how Agent 365 really supports them operate your organization as a frontier firm, starting with IT. To get us going on this, please welcome Neta to the stage, who's going to walk us through a day in the life of IT operating Agent 365.
The same tools you use to manage users are now extended to secure and manage agents with security capabilities within. Entra, our identity and secure access solution, Defender, our threat protection solution, and Purview, our data security and compliance solution. Together, they enable you to secure and manage agents at scale. Let me show you how. Imagine I'm an IT admin at Zava. Let me show you why I'm so excited about Agent 365. The same infrastructure and controls I use to manage people, the Microsoft 365 Admin Center, I can now manage agent at scale. Let's start in the Agent 365 overview dashboard. This gives me one centralized view of all the agents, and I can see key metrics across every agent, showing me adoption patterns, business impact, and the distribution of agents. I can see here what agents were created by my organization, Zava, and which ones were created by external partners. I can also see what agent platforms they were created on, Copilot Studio, Microsoft Foundry, and others. Agent 365 also shows me the top actions that I need to take in order to stay on top of security posture and my operational health across all my agents. Now that I have an idea of my overall metrics, let's see the individual agents in the agent inventory. The agent inventory is powered by Microsoft Entra. In the agent inventory, I can see the total agents in my organization. Look, I already have more than 100,000 agents in my organization. I can see for all the agents what platforms they were built on, what are their availability, if they have security risk, and what is their adoption and usability activity. I love this view, as it consolidates information from security, use of adoption, and performance health, all in one single place. Now that we've looked at how this enables me to see agent activity and health across our organization, I'll show you what this means at the individual agent level. Let's look at Zava Procurement Agent, our marketing and other teams use this agent to accelerate procurement with insights and automation. We built this here internally at 𝗬𝗲, and it's already live in production. Let's drill down into this agent. This is 𝗬𝗲, the procurement agent. I can see here the description of the agent. I can see its availability, what platform it was built in Microsoft Foundry, and who is the owner. I can also see the data and tools that it has connected to, and the knowledge sources that it's connected to. I have a single security and compliance tab that I can see here that Purview is enabled on this agent and is actively monitoring the agent activity and preventing sensitive data interaction. I can also see this agent has a 𝗦𝗽𝗲𝗀𝗀 agent ID and Defender is enabled. I can see the permissions. I can see exactly what access this agent has and ensure that the agent has only the access it needs to have. And I can see the activity. I can see that our teams are using this agent and adopting it, and that the usage is growing. But look, I can also see that there are exceptions in the past few days on this agent. I'll talk to our developer to look into this. So far, we've looked at the agent overview and our agent inventory as a whole, drilled into specific agent to review key details. Now, let me show you where Agent 365 really shines and gives me a peace of mind, managing risks and security. Agent 365 contains a dedicated tab that flags agent risks. I can see here all the agent with risk. I can see that the COM agent has 2 security risks. Let's drill down. I can see that Microsoft Entra has detected that this agent has abnormal sign-in frequency and that the agent was accessed by a risky user. Entra conditional access will automatically block this agent from accessing resources. But I, as an IT admin, I can also block this agent directly from the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. Let's block this agent. Agent 365 continuously monitors the agent activity to look for patterns that could present threats and ensure that my organization stays secure. Now, another thing I want to show you, I need to manage my agents, is by ensuring that every agent has an owner. This helps us prevent agent sprawl. Agent 365 gives me a dedicated view on the agents that don't have an owner, and I can review them and assign them an owner. I want to ensure that every agent in my organization has an owner. I see the invoice processing agent doesn't have an owner, but I know this owner, so let's assign it an owner. Great. This helps me ensure that all agents are assigned an owner easily. One of the most important parts of onboarding new agents into my organization is setting the right guardrails, just like I would do for people. Let me show you the request queue. These are agents that people in our organization have submitted for approval to publish or activated. Here is the product backlog agent that Mona has requested to activate. Before I activate it, I need to review what it does. Let's look at what information it has. I can see the overview and see exactly what the description of this agent and what it does. I can see that it was published by .org, and this is the owner, and I can see it was developed on Microsoft Foundry. I can also see the data and the tools that it has access to. And I have a single tab for security and compliance. I can see that Purview is actively monitoring continuously monitoring this agent, audit trails are enabled, and data security and controls are controlled by Purview. I can also see that Entra is protecting this agent, and it's managed with an Entra agent ID, and Defender is enabled. I can see the permission of this agent, and I can see exactly what permission it has and what the privilege level that it has. I'm so glad I have all this information so I can easily verify and activate this agent. Let me activate it for Mona. Now, let's apply a policy and permission that are applicable to her. Here's where governance becomes practical and scalable. I'm using the policies templates that I've customized for our organization. Right now, I'm selecting the agent template, restrict content sharing. That includes pre-configured policies by the organization and access package we already configured in Microsoft Entra. Same identity and access governance rule we use everywhere else. It also includes a custom policy. This policy enforces restriction on external sharing of sites and content, giving us a precise control over which agent can share files that live in SharePoint and OneDrive with external users or guests. Since this agent requires productivity apps and tools, this template enables me to streamline activation for every use of this agent. Next, let's review the permission, the delegated permission that will let the agent act on behalf of 𝗦𝗽𝗲. I can see here all the permission, the delegated permission that the agent has and their privilege levels. This looks appropriate, so I'm accepting them. And just like that, the agent is published and activated for 𝗦𝗽𝗲. The process I just walked you through works exactly the same way when we're onboarding agents from other external publishers. Same governance, same visibility, same control. Back to you, Nirav.
Thank you, Neta, for walking us through that. I don't know about you, but I'm a little bit jealous of my IT admins. That's a beautiful portal, is it not? What we've done there is we've really brought together the definition of Frontier Firm into the M365 Admin Center, a single place to go manage your people, Copilot, and your agents. What you also saw was that we brought together our industry-leading security capabilities for identity, data security, and threat protection with Entra, Purview, and Defender into Agent 365. Now, every agent can get an identity in Entra so that you can easily identify it and define what access controls it has. You also get to build on all the data governance and information protection capabilities that you've already invested in with Purview, allowing your agents to understand what data it can access and how it can use it. And we've altered and augmented all of the activity that's being sent to Defender from your people, along with the activity from your agents, powering the over 100 trillion, yes, trillion signals that it reasons over every single day to proactively detect threats across your organization, giving you a truly unified approach to how you secure your people and now your agents too. What you probably also saw with what Neta was showing in that registry was that it had agents from a number of different providers. While we believe agents from Microsoft and our agent factories are best in class, we know you have lots of options for how you get your agents, be it agents taken off the shelf from Microsoft, agents from the rapidly emerging ecosystem of agent providers, or even agents that you build yourself. But the problem with that is they're all running on disparate infrastructure and operating environments. And that creates a lot of work and overhead, creating a fractured system and a bunch of complexity for how best you can go manage all of them. That's why we built Agent 365 as a unified control plane for all of your agents. With Agent 365, you can bring every agent, no matter the platform or provider, under a single roof for consistent management, oversight, and security. And one great example of this is Manus. Manus is a leading agent platform built to enhance productivity and collaboration. Manus enables organizations to build and deploy intelligent agents tailored to their unique needs. And they've done the work to integrate Agent 365, allowing their customers to accrue all the benefits that you just saw earlier. To walk us through a little bit of their journey, I'm thrilled to welcome co-founder of Manus AI, Tao, to the stage. Thank you for joining us, Tao. Super excited for you to be here. For folks that don't know about Manus, do you want to maybe just give everyone a little bit of an overview of what Manus AI is doing?
Yeah, well, of course. Like Manus kind of like being the world's first general agent. So it's just like another specific purpose agent. Manus can do a lot of like long tail of different type of tasks. So like, let's take it simple. It's like you can just imagine Manus as a digital intern in your company. So any task you assign to your intern, you can try with Manus. And today, we have a demo. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'd love to see it.
Yeah.
You want to give us a quick look at it?
Yeah. So let's say this is the interface of Manus, and maybe in your company, you want to buy a new keyboard for all your employees, but you don't know like which one do they like. So like you can just build a very simple survey for the whole team to vote, and then you will know like which keyboard is being the most liked. Yeah. So this is the very simple prompt, and you can just give it to Manus and get it running. And the Manus will do the research first to find out like what's the option it can have through the internet, and then use all this information to build a working website just for you. And then you can just click publish. And then you can just publish the website. You can ask your employees to view this website and to take a vote on all these keyboards you find on internet. And then maybe after you get the final result, you can make the right choice.
Awesome.
What do you think, Nirav?
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So obviously Manus has had tremendous success. It's growing like crazy. So why did you want to integrate with something like Agent 365? What was the motivation for that?
Yeah, because like right now, even Manus is still a product that focuses on consumers. But right now, like a lot of people, a lot of Manus users are using Manus for their work. So actually, there are like more and more enterprise coming to us to talk about like how can they adapt Manus into their organizations. But as a very small startup now, we just released Manus this March. So this is just the 8th month for us.
Nice.
We're not very familiar with the enterprise market. So like after the first time we met with the Agent 365 team, we think maybe this is the best solution for us because like most of our enterprise potential customers, they're using Microsoft. Yeah.
You want to show us a little bit of Manus with Agent 365?
Yeah, of course. So as we mentioned earlier, in the Microsoft Admin Center, you can see in the future, Manus is already here, and you can just check like how Manus is working, like which channel Manus has connected to, which means in the future, in Microsoft Word, Outlook, Teams, you can just use Manus in these apps. And also, you can always get control about which data Manus can access. And also, in the security and the compliance tab, you will see things from Purview, Entra, and Microsoft Defender about like what the agent is getting access to, and what's the activity, what's the sensitive interaction it did. So it's very easy for IT admin to keep the whole agents under control. And also, like you can check like which permissions the agent has. And the last one, I think maybe the most important one is about activity. Because like, from an enterprise perspective, you always want to know what's the penetration of a certain agent. You want to say like how many of our employees are using this agent and what's the exception rate, things like that. I think that's why, we think we as a very small startup, we can leverage the power of Agent 365 to make our progress into the enterprise market much faster. Yeah.
That's great. So what I think I'm seeing here is right, your end users continue to get the Manus experience that they know and love and gotten really accustomed to utilizing day in, day out. But now IT has all this visibility into Manus and how it's operating across their organization, who's using it, so that they can effectively manage all of that.
Yeah, definitely.
Just using the experiences that they're used to.
Yeah, and it's not just just about Manus itself, because like in a real world, I think an organization must have a lot of different type of services rather than Manus. So actually, in the admin center, you can just click the map and to see that how Manus the agent works with other agents in your whole organization. So like here, you can just click the Manus icon. You can say, okay, Manus has some interactions with another agent. This is our internal procurement
Good old Java.
agent. Yeah,
back to
in Java. Yeah. So here you can say when you click the this procurement agent, you can say it also has another interaction with other agents, and you can just dig in, and you will see for this agent, you can say, okay, maybe the exception rate is a little high, and you can just check from an admin perspective. It's like, is this exception coming from Manus agent, or it's just from procurement agent? And being an IT admin, with this help, you can get a much whole picture of how different agents are working inside your organization. Yeah.
Got it. So because you've integrated with Agent 365, not only does your agent start showing up in the admin center, but now you can start seeing the interconnectivity of Manus and how it's really interoperating with all these additional agents across your organization, benefiting really both Manus customers and Microsoft customers all at the same time.
Yeah, we're hoping for that future.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for all the collaboration and partnership.
Thank you so much.
Amazing job. Thank you so much. And the excitement is real. Manus isn't the only company taking advantage of what Agent 365 has to offer. Partners are rapidly jumping on board, bringing their innovation into Agent 365's fast-growing and open ecosystem. The ecosystem has been growing so fast, I am positive that my phone is blowing up right now because I forgot to put somebody's logo on here. And any agent, regardless of the platform or the infrastructure it's built on, can join and accrue all of the benefits of Agent 365. For agents built inside a Copilot Studio or Microsoft Foundry, Agent 365 is built in, allowing developers to take advantage of it right from the get-go. With the Microsoft Agent Framework and the Agent 365 SDK, we've also made it easy to onboard any agent built elsewhere and integrate it into the infrastructure, systems, and tools, just like what you saw from Manus earlier. So you've seen now how Agent 365 supports IT, as well as developers and partners. But ultimately, the value and results really come when we can support that human ambition with Copilot and agents, enabling them to amplify what they can achieve. To do this, agents can't work in a silo. They need to participate in the flow of work with your people. And Agent 365 enables this by providing your agents a safe and secure way to integrate into the places where people are working and collaborating today. To show us how Agent 365 unleashes a new level of human-agent collaboration, please welcome Monica to the stage.
Nirav. Well, let's review what we've heard so far. You've heard about the agent registry in Microsoft 365's Admin Center. You've heard about Agent 365 tools that allow you to monitor agents. You've also heard that all agents, regardless of what platforms they're built on, can also be monitored on a single plane. Now, I'm going to talk to you about what that means for your employees and organizations. Agent 365 extends agents so that they can collaborate in the very same familiar tools that you and I use to get work done. So, from productivity agents, from productivity tools like SharePoint, Word, Outlook, agents can be grounded in your organization's data and processes so that they can deliver secure, context-aware outcomes. And what does this result in? This results in better aligned teams, faster decision-making, and ultimately higher impact output. Well, let me show you an example of this. Demo time. Excellent. Picture this. As of last week, I got promoted to be my organization's marketing manager. That's right. I'm responsible for my organization's entire marketing portfolio. The first task that I need to take care of is our Q4 marketing campaign. Thankfully, my team already has a SharePoint site that we use to manage a short list of vendors, because this marketing campaign is going to run in the US and also in Japan. And this campaign needs to ensure that only the vendors that meet our internal guidelines and policies are actually allowed to work with us. I also found out that our IT admin has built a procurement agent. This agent is going to help me get work done. All right, so let's put the agent to work. I'm going to go ahead and ask the agent to send out emails and get quotes based on the shortlist I just showed you on our SharePoint site. You see, the way this happened in the past was I would manually send out emails across time zones. I would even need to seek help with translations. But let's see what my trusty procurement agent can do. Excellent. It looks like it did listen to me, just as I like to see. This is really great, guys. You see, what's happening here is this agent has autonomously sent out emails with its own email address. It's also included the rest of our team so that we can keep track in the tools that we use. I can see here that it sent out emails in Japanese and also in English. Great. It's a polyglot. Excellent. I can also see that it has formatted the emails just the way I like to see my emails go out. And that's because this agent is grounded in understanding how my team works. It also has a good understanding of previous relationships with these vendors, so it can personalize the messages that go out. Excellent. Now let's see. The next thing I typically do is I would synthesize all of my back and forth communication. Let's see if the agent has been able to do this for me back in our SharePoint site. Excellent. Perhaps what you couldn't see all the way at the back is that there's a column here that tracks the status. And the agent has gone ahead and edited our existing SharePoint site with new information. It keeps all of us on the team up to speed on how it's progressing. I can see here that it has actually received quotes already. I also see something funky. It looks like it's flagging to me that it encountered an incident. Let's go back to Outlook and figure out what happened with this particular vendor. Okay, so I'm looking for the vendor. Okay, I see the offending message. You guys, this is unacceptable, my friends. It turns out that this vendor tried to manipulate our agent by injecting a prompt, trying to exfiltrate data from our internal systems. Terrible. This is why with Agent 365's integration with our security infrastructure, our agent is able to detect such bad behavior, to cease and desist from taking any such offending actions, and to alert the rest of our team that an incident occurred. You see, this is the type of threat protection that agents are going to need to have if we are to earn the opportunity to get to that 1.3 billion number you saw earlier. Okay, so far, looking good. But Monica is a very demanding marketing manager these days. I'm going to ask it for even more. Let's go back to chat. Okay, excellent. Here I'm going to tell it to generate an analysis based on all the work it's done so far. Excellent. Okay, this is good. So again, the agent has autonomously created a Word document in our shared folder. And I'm delighted to see that it understands the exact format to use. In looking at this document, I also see a note that it wasn't allowed to access a very particular document in our shared drive. This is good. You see, with Microsoft Entra and the rest of the security features that are integrated with Agent 365, agents are controlled with least privileged access rights. And so they're only giving just-in-time scope tokens to access just the very resources that they really should be accessing. In this case, I am glad that it wasn't able to get its hands into this particular document. All right, let's scroll down, see, oh, excellent, excellent, those tables look familiar. I can see that the agent was able to use the frameworks that my team typically uses for these kinds of analysis. I can also see that the agent has put out the reference section so that it's easy for me to understand how it came up with this final analysis. This is really great. I don't need to learn a different way of speaking to agents. I don't need to use a different agent system. I don't even need to confine myself to the boxes of a chat box. I can go in the tools on my regular workflow, and I can see how my agent is working for me. Let's go back to the top, because we saw something interesting there. So if you see all at the top, what has happened is this agent has been able to mention the Manus agent, telling the Manus agent to create slides for Friday's presentation. This is the ability for me to see our agents collaborating again in the same environment and tools that I use. As an information worker, I can see this collaboration happening, but also the IT admin can track these kinds of collaboration, as the Manus team showed you earlier. All right, guys, I'm excited. I cannot wait for my Friday presentation with my leadership team. So, what I just gave you here was a glimpse of the power of Agent 365. Agent 365 allows your agents to have observability, security, data, and tools so that they can deliver high impact, securely, and in a contextually aware manner. Really, what I'm saying to you is Agent 365 is a powerful way for you all to be empowered and for your organizations to be empowered to do more with AI agents. Big boss Nirav, over to you.
Awesome, thank you, Monica. I think I finally figured out how you've been so productive. We're gonna have a conversation about that later. No, but you see, with Agent 365, because we've empowered all those agents with tools to use M365 and collaborate with people, how those agents can really speed up how work gets done, enabling every user to operate with these agents in the flow of their work, enabling them to do more than ever before. This is why we think Agent 365 is going to be a foundational piece for how you're all going to transform into a frontier firm, starting with how you manage, secure, and run all those agents. Because it comes with that registry, giving you visibility into all the agents in your enterprise, directly in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center, allowing you to manage the full life cycle of those agents, from creation to deactivation. You saw how it lets you stay compliant and protected by using things like policy templates that let you set and define authorization rules and access policies for your agents to the data and systems across your organization, which ultimately then get enforced, like what Monica showed you, at runtime, based on the agent context, the conditions that it's running under, and the resource that it's trying to access. You saw how we're bringing together all of that observability, feeding visualizations for all of the different roles across your organization, so that you can see how your agent's ecosystem is actually being used, the interconnection between all those different agents and the health and risks associated with them. Monica showed you how we're really bringing interoperability to the applications, data, and collaboration services that you have across your organization, enabling your agents to access critical knowledge sources like Microsoft Graph, Dataverse, and more, letting your agents operate inside of the Microsoft 365 applications like Outlook, Word, Excel, Teams, and more, and enabling them to take action, build and share content, and collaborate seamlessly with your people, all on an open and extensible system for any agent, allowing all agent providers like Manus to take advantage of all of these benefits. And finally, with the security capabilities that you require to proactively detect and respond to threats, emerging and active across your organization, so that you can rest easier knowing that your agents are operating within your guardrails, all in the products and tools and services that you're already using today. This is why we believe Agent 365 is going to be foundational to everyone's transformation to a frontier firm. But you don't have to take my word for it. Let's actually hear from someone that's lived this journey and the impact that it's had for them. To walk us through EY's journey to becoming a frontier firm using Agent 365, please join me in welcoming Mark up to the stage.
Hey, Nirav, great to be here.
Thanks for joining us, Mark. So why don't you just get us started by telling us a little bit about yourself, your role, what you've been up to at EY.
Yeah, so I get the fun job of helping solve some of our biggest challenges and innovating with teams like yours at Microsoft, both us as a client of Microsoft and for our joint clients in the market as well.
Fantastic. And so then tell us a little bit about your journey with AI and agents. What really got EY going on really believing that being a frontier firm with agents was going to be a critical part of its future?
Yeah, we really embraced the frontier firm concept, right? And so a few years ago, we enabled all of our people with their own assistant that we called EYQ at the time. We since also have rolled out M365 Copilot, and we've learned so much from that, people innovating and coming up with new use cases. Now that's expanded. We have more than 41,000 Copilot Studio agents in the estate. We have a number of other providers of AI technology as well, like you touched on earlier. So we have NVIDIA, we have SAP, any technology you can think of, we probably have touched it at some point. And so we keep driving this and driving that future of agentic in the enterprise.
Got it. And so obviously when we talked about Agent 365 and what we were trying to do with it, you were super excited about the vision and where we were trying to go. Tell us a little bit about what drew you to it. What were some of the problems that you were really trying to solve?
Yeah, when we really looked, we started to recognize that there was a gap in the space, and that gap was that lack of common observability across the enterprise, especially as you go across different AI stacks, right? So I kind of think of it as we use Copilot Studio, Foundry, NVIDIA, others to build our agents, but we needed a way to govern across the enterprise. And that's where Agent 365 really comes in, helping us solve that problem of visibility and observability, integrating with our existing security apparatus across the spectrum and getting that visibility in there, and really having that common registry or catalog across the enterprise as well.
Nice. Now the million-dollar question that I know everyone's wondering here in the room, what was it like? Well, tell us a little bit about the experience. Did it pay off the way you were hoping?
It did. We're still learning together, I think, but we've actually made a lot of progress. We brought a lot of our different business units together to be a part of that and that implementation, and we're continuing to do it. So we're getting to a place where we start to have that common visibility. We start to have that integration across our platforms. We have Purview, Sentinel, Defender, a lot of things in the space, and we're continuing to push the envelope there.
Yeah, so you mentioned Purview, Defender. Tell us a little bit about like governance and security. How are you thinking about that with Agent 365, the security products, and kind of how it all comes together?
Yeah, I think that trying to figure out what agents do as they kind of join your workforce across the organization, and being able to control that and shut that down when you have a rogue agent is really important as part of that. We believe in democratizing some of that access in terms of that agent creation. This will help us have visibility into that when that happens. And then we'll invest in those things that are going to move forward very quickly as well to transform the business.
Fantastic. So then just kind of looking forward to where you're going next. Tell us a little bit about what's EY's vision now, where you want to go, how can Agent 365 play a role in the upcoming opportunities?
Yeah, I think Agent 365 is really going to help us solve that overall visibility governance problem as we talked about. Some of the announcements coming up at the expansion of Model Router are really interesting, but I really think one of the next big spaces is that enterprise orchestrator. So think of it sort of like an agent router. And that's what we really are hoping to look for next and solve some of those enterprise challenges.
Fantastic. I think we're going to have to end here because I think if we keep going, you're going to give me more work to do. And
that's what we're good at, right?
I think people want to see the end here. But thank you so much for all the partnership and collaboration.
Thanks,
really appreciate it. So what you saw was EY's journey with Agent 365 and really how it supported them becoming a frontier organization. And I hope all of you get a chance to share and live that same experience. Agent 365 is rolling out right now across the world, and that registry is going to be available for everyone on day 0. For organizations that are part of the Frontier program, you're going to get early access to all the capabilities that we just walked through here today. If you're not part of the Frontier program, go ahead, grab your phones, grab this QR code to learn more about what it means to join the Frontier program so that you can get access to Agent 365 and a bunch more of Microsoft's latest AI innovations. And the Agent 365 information doesn't stop here. There's so much goodness in Agent 365. There's only so much we could cram in to this session. There's a bunch more throughout the week to dive even deeper into all the things that you can do with Agent 365 and how it's going to support you continue on that transformation journey to a Frontier firm. I'm super excited by what we've delivered here and to see how you all take advantage of it as part of your innovation journey to the new frontier. We're going to go do amazing things together, so let's go ahead and get started. Thank you all for joining today, and enjoy the rest of Ignite.
You know, to manage users, you've built systems that empower, protect, and unify. Now, manage agents the same way. No need to reinvent, no need to rebuild. Extend what works. Your infrastructure, your apps, your protections. Agents under control. What will you empower? Agent 365 by Microsoft.